This is Optometrists Building Empires, and I'm your host, Ankit Patel. Each week, we'll explore the journey of multi-practice ownership and leadership in optometry. Join us for insights and strategies from the top minds in our field. This show is sponsored by My Business Care Team. My Business Care Team helps your office increase revenues, reduce costs, and reduce staffing headaches. Let's build your empire together. Today's guest is someone I'm excited to present. He's a dedicated and accomplished optometrist who's been serving the New Hamburg community since 1991. He holds certifications in advanced ocular disease and therapeutics and was the first optometrist to co-manage in laser vision correction at the TLC London Laser Center. His clinical interests include children's vision, visual perception testing, contact lenses, specialty ortho-K, and laser vision correction. He's also involved in professional education and outreach, serving as a lecturer at the University of Waterloo and volunteering internationally at the Fish Eye Clinic in Jamaica. He's partner and optometrist at Dolman Eyecare and KW Neurovision. Please welcome Howard Dolman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's quite an impressive list of accomplishments. So I'm excited to dig into it. And so, what was the most important thing that helped you grow your businesses, your, like, as we like to call it, your empire?
Well, reflecting on that question, I think it's a series really of different events that happened in my life as it is for most people. Going way back to seeing my father as a pharmacist in his profession and, owning a store and leading a team, but also becoming extremely involved in pharmacy, both, through the Toronto area and through the province of Ontario. And it gave me the opportunity to see firsthand what involvement looks like in your profession and to become a leader. And that gave me the courage to welcome any opportunity that came my way, including the opportunity to own my own practice.
Yeah. And talk us through that journey a little bit about your the journey you had to owning your practice.
Yes.
And why not grow it, right? Why grow it? Why not keep it as just one practice, serving the community?
Well, it is a fun story looking back. Kim and I were in optometry school together. She was a couple years after me. And so we decided to get married as Kim was going into her fourth year. So I needed a job. And that job had to be somewhere in the area of the optometry school in Waterloo. And it turned out to be with a Dr. Betty France, who had a couple of clinics in Listowel, New Hamburg, both, a little bit of a drive from Waterloo. But again, seeing how a leader in the profession in our area was able to manage starting two clinics, literally out of optometry school. So seeing how Dr. France was able to build her empire, and then having an opportunity to work in one of her practices was fairly special. Unfortunately, Dr. Fretz took ill shortly after I started working there. But that led to the opportunity for Kim and I to purchase her New Hamburg practice. And we had to make a decision shortly out of school. Do we buy a well-established multi-doctor practice and just hit the ground running? Or do we take our time, associate in different places and learn our craft and see what we want to do? And this was the first time where I said, this is the opportunity where we're going to take it. Now, that in itself was taking on more than most people would, given this was a well-established practice, 15 years old, multi-doctors, multi-exam rooms. And I was just out of school. Kim hadn't even graduated yet, basically. But we worked through the negotiation process, and it was a little complicated, dragged on a little bit. But to make a long story short, we were all set to sign the document, own the practice, move forward. On the day we were supposed to sign the contract, we actually ended up going to the hospital for good reason. Our first daughter, Sarah, was born. So we became literally practice owners and new parents all within days. And that was a pretty big start to two big things in our life.
Yeah, you're on the fast track. You're like, well, hey, why not? Let's just do two things at once that are really difficult.
But as you can well imagine, Kim and I planned to practice together, run the practice together, and now our time was divided, and rightfully so. And you understand the importance. The family comes first, and that was the most important message, that Sarah being born literally the day we were supposed to purchase the practice. So things didn't go very well that first year without Kim there and with me handling things on our own. But it was another opportunity to learn from some industry players that provided incredible advice and management services. One being Williams Consulting, that gave us an executive MBA basically in how to run a practice, and literally saved us from making it a total disaster.
I want to talk about some of the emotions. It is a while ago, but I imagine it was still pretty visceral. What were some of the main emotions you were feeling around uh, having a new baby, daughter, having practice, another baby in a way? Like, what were some of the emotions throughout that year? Like, just tell me what you were feeling. Cause I think a lot of people might empathize and would love to hear, hey, it's not all what it looks like from the outside. What were you feeling internally?
It was a series of extreme highs and extreme lows because we became new parents, and these are the steps you look forward to in your life. But there were complications with Sarah. She was born early. She ended up going back to the hospital. She was very colicky. So I would arrive home from the clinic, and Kim would say, "Here you go. The next 12 hours are yours. So get some rest." I would go to work the next morning, and away we go. We'd start the process over and over again. And we weren't really prepared to lead a team. It wasn't a big team. It was only 5 staff, and effectively 2 full-time associates, but it was lean, and we weren't ready. But uh, the one thing that we knew was that this was something that could be extremely successful, both running a practice and being parents, if we got the best advice we could, and learn how to do the best job that we could. And so in those days, there was no YouTube or internet, or we couldn't Google how to get a colicky baby to fall asleep in less than 45 minutes. But we made it work.
Yeah, he's like, my mom joked when we had our first kid, is like, oh, why don't you call your other mother Google? So I was like, we were fortunate when we had our kids. We were able to at least Google it. Now with AI, gosh, it's probably even, there's more resources.
Yeah, we leaned heavily on family. There's no question about that. And we were very fortunate to have Kim's mom around, and she became a third parent essentially to our children.
That's great. It's always nice to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It obviously didn't scare us too much, because we went on to have 3 more children. So
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, you figured, hey, that was hard. It can't be any harder than that. Right? Was that your policy or philosophy on practices as well when you expanded to new practices? Like, you already had one. It can't be that hard for a couple.
And that's just it. I mean, Sarah was so colicky that Kim said, okay, there's no way that the next child could be this colicky. We've got to have another child to make it easier, and see what it's like to be easier. But, doesn't work that way. So, listen, we feel very blessed, and our children were healthy, and we did have a lot of support from Kim's mom, and including her moving in actually after the passing of Kim's stepfather. And it was a critical part of keeping a stable home life while mom and dad were running 1 and then 2 very busy practices.
Yeah. And talk to me about when you grew from 1 to more than 1 to, what was something you ran into that you may have not expected, whether it's from 1 to 2 or 2 and beyond?
Yes.
What did you run into?
Well, the first practice was a purchase. So it had existing infrastructure, a team, doctors. And there are certainly advantages to that. Doing a cold start is a completely different venture. Again, having to find a space, understand how to investigate and sign a lease, um, and do a build out and start from scratch by hiring a team, training them. It's wonderful because you can do things the way you want to do them, but everything obviously works much, much more slowly. And so we're grateful that we took on that project a little bit later on. We gave ourselves some time to build and grow the primary care practice, um, and go from that team of 5 to a team of 15, to go from a couple of full-time equivalent doctors to 4 full-time equivalent, before we decided to pursue Kim's passion, which is vision therapy.
Nice. So, tell me about that. What made you want to do all that? It's a lot to take on. Like, like you had your wife is obviously a partner in this, but like, what drove you all for that?
It, interestingly, um, it, it's often things that happen in your own personal life that sort of guide you toward things that might happen professionally. And in this case, our youngest daughter, who was started off in gymnastics and then sort of evolved into cheerleading, as you can imagine, where this story is going, suffered a couple of concussions. And the frustration that you have, that we had as parents, seeing our child suffer through brain fog and difficulty in school, and going from one professional to another, trying to figure out how to help her um, work through this injury. And we were sitting, in a neuro chiropractic office one day, watching this, wonderful chiropractor who was doing great work with our daughter, but obviously doing things that delved into the realm of optometry. We were thinking, we have colleagues that are doing this, and we could be doing this, and that often doesn't lead to a business venture or starting a second practice. Um, but in our community, we realized that though we have the optometry school, there's still a very large population that wasn't being serviced properly, and a great need to be able to provide a larger service of care, vision there.
I'm going to reflect back what I'm hearing. It's really kind of a cool story, Howard. It's almost like you're finding opportunities that there's a Japanese concept called ikigai. Have you heard of that concept?
I don't think I have.
Where the users, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's basically it's a Venn diagram of like 5 different things. Something like what's your passion, what are you good at, what does the world need, and there's a couple of other things in there. And it almost sounds like these businesses where you're basically a confluence of all those things together for you all. You're like, oh, we need this. Oh, we also have good at this. Oh, we have opportunity to do this. That's what kind of drove you to buy the first practice and the second one. And the other theme I'm seeing is community. Whether it's you're serving the community, whether you're getting help from community, like your parents from raising your children, whether it's your staff or whether it's your Williams group or other outside people. Even before we talked outside of here, your community, your peer groups, it's still a theme. So community and your ikigai are kind of the 2 themes I'm seeing. Would you say that's kind of you're seeing too, or would you want to build on that, or is that pretty accurate?
No, that's extremely accurate. I am spiritual, and I do see that there is a bigger picture always. And reflecting back on our purchase of practice from Dr. Fritz, she was in a position where she had established something very special, and wasn't able to continue. And we were given the opportunity to you know um, obviously we didn't take what she had, we purchased it, but we were given the opportunity to take the clinic that she had worked so hard to build and create a very special place for the community of people living in that area for Eyecare, and build on that. And so absolutely the same thing occurred, a number of years later when we saw the opportunity again, the need in the community, the need from our family, to provide something special that others have a need for.
And tell me a little bit about how you got involved with being the first one of the first doctors doing LASIK in Canada.
Well, again, I want to be clear that this was more the co-management side, but it was very early on with laser vision correction in Canada, and very early on in Ontario. and TLC London, Ontario was one of the first locations. And we realized very quickly that uh, not to fear what laser vision correction was going to bring to our patients. It's not competing with the care that we're giving. It's going to enhance the opportunities for our patients. And so that led to a strong connection with TLC London and the opportunity to bring their surgeons into our clinic to provide seminars and sessions to speak to our team and to speak to our patients. And that led to the opportunity to bring a busload of our patients to London and have a laser day for our clinic, which is very unique at the time. And we have patients who still talk about this more than 25 years later.
Yeah. I mean, it's a unique experience. That's pretty cool. And I'm also hearing a theme of being cutting edge, right? Oh, first in TLC. Neuro-ophthalmology sound like it's kind of emerging. So I think we can do this here in this area, service a need. So what challenges are you facing right now? Like with owning multiple locations, what are some of the main challenges, with staffing or other challenges that you might be facing?
I think, there's a common theme, I think, over the years where we've worked really hard to cultivate a very warm and family-like culture in our practice. But as you know, um, it's becoming less and less likely that anyone who starts in your practice as a team member is going to stay long term. So we did have staff who stayed with us for 20 or more years, and we still have one staff person who's been with us for uh, 18 years, one 26 years, and one 42 years this October. But we've also lost a lot of long-term staff along the way. And we recognize that the newer staff that we have see working in our office as a learning opportunity, but also as a step toward their next learning opportunity. And so we could initially feel threatened by that and wonder, why should we put the time, the energy, and the effort to try to make our team the best it can be when the people are going to be just leaving within a year or two. But we realized again, though, the bigger picture is we owe it to our patients, we owe it to our doctors, and we certainly owe it to the staff who do see a long-term opportunity in our clinic to build each person that is there with us for as long as that they are there with us. And our wish is that whatever they take from the continuing education we provide, from the learning opportunity, that helps them in their next step in their journey.
I'd say I like that approach. It's not, hey, transactional. It's still a relationship there, but it's not we know it's not going to be, it may not be a long-term relationship, and you still want the best for them.
Yes.
I love that approach, because you're seeing people as people. It resonates with the theme of being community caregivers, with the community and your staff and everyone. So I like that a lot. What do you see as something you're excited about for your practices in the future? Like what do you want to build on for the next however many years you want to practice?
Yes. Well, we're very excited about the development in an expanding role of optometrists through myopia management, through dry eye services, and as our scope continues to be updated in Canada, in Ontario, we look forward to the opportunity potentially to provide even more services to our patients. And that is what gives me the energy 35 years in to continue wanting to support our clinic, support the doctors we have, build the team that we have, because we know the services we provide today have evolved from what we did 5 and 10 years ago. And we're excited about where these services are going to be 5 and 10 years from now.
Yeah. And community is a constant theme I'm seeing with you. Tell me about your fish eye clinic experience in Jamaica. What is
Yeah,
that like? Like, what do you do there? I'm not as familiar with a nonprofit, and our listeners may not be either. Tell us about that a little bit.
sure. Again, it was a number of years ago, but the opportunity was to go into a local community outside of Kingston, Jamaica, where the people who are native to Jamaica and live in the farming communities and the small rural areas could come into that area and be provided with eye care and glasses that they couldn't otherwise afford. And to be able to be part of that project and see what it's like uh, to give back. That early on in my career, again, I realized that um, even if I can't be in person in these projects, um, we found a way to be able to continue to contribute to them. And so, one of our cherished opportunities is through optometry giving site. And so we participate each year by donating $2 from every frame that's sold. And then Kim and I make a donation as well. And so we're one of the leading clinics in Canada each year, providing necessary funds to Optometry Giving Site. And they in turn provide sustainable eye care and eyewear services in different parts of the world.
And I'm gonna ask a question that a lot of folks might be interested in. I know you did it out of the kindness of your heart. Did it help business at all? Like, is that a program that you advertise? Just curious. And I'll
We
share
did.
with you my story that we
Yeah.
had. We did something just because we wanted to. Our staff wanted to do something as a give back many years ago. And there's a local nonprofit that helped folks who were just recently became homeless get back on their feet. And we said, hey, you're near our office. You're local. We'll use a donated pair of frames and we'll donate the glasses and our time and get folks exams and eyeglasses. And we didn't even really, we put it on our website. We kind of had something about it, but a random person picked it up, and I'm not sure how, but like a reporter picked it up and found it, and we got extra press for it. We weren't even trying, but people liked that, we had to stop since COVID, and we need to start the program back again. But things have changed with policies with profit. But the point was like we weren't expecting, but we were getting a bump in business. Did you guys see any of that, or did you experience any of that?
We do let our patients know. There's a small little sentence at the bottom of their voice saying that we donate $2 from their frame purchase to Optometry Giving Site, and we put a little bit of internal advertising on our media boards that we have. We have some digital signage internally in our practice so that our patients know. But I guess we stay a little bit on the quieter side, in terms of speaking to the community. But we're very proud of the contribution that we make, and we want our team to be proud of it, and we want our patients to know that they are helping us to make that contribution.
I love it. It makes people feel bigger, so that they're part of something bigger.
Yes.
And that seems to be more and more feedback I'm getting from folks in the workforce. Like, hey, I want to be part of something bigger, right? I think that's awesome that you all care and it comes through.
Well, and the way that we are able to accumulate those funds is sort of a softer approach too, because we all go to the grocery store and the pharmacy, and we're asked, "Would you like to donate? Would you like to donate?" And you feel like every transaction you make, you're being asked. Where this is just baked in to what we do, and so sometimes people ask when we adjust their glasses or change their nose pads, yeah, is there any charge for that? Of course, there's no fee for that. We're happy to do that for you, look after your glasses. But like to make a little donation to Optometry Giving Site, then you can pass on some funds that will give someone else a pair of glasses or an eye exam. And so it's just another soft way to leverage the things that we do day in and day out that we would do anyway, that help people to contribute.
I like that a lot. I'm going to steal that one. Can I take that one for our office? It's like, hey, you can donate a part of our program that helps folks with eyesight. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, we do one more thing. It's an environmental side to it. It's a giving side to it, but we always give patients with their new glasses, a case, a cleaner, a cloth.
Mhm.
But we tell our patients when that bottle is empty, just bring it in and we will refill it at no charge to you, because we don't want you to take another plastic bottle into the world. And again, patients appreciate it. it's pennies for the fluid when you would buy it by the jug. And it's just a small thing that people, especially in a small community, that people feel
Makes a
that you
difference.
look after.
It's the little things. It's surprisingly little things that make a difference. Like, oh, I get a free refill. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, I can get a clean cloth. Can I have another one? I was like, yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the little things. That's great. And so I kind of want to give a sense to the audience of what makes you tick and what makes you who you are. So Howard, can you tell me or share with me a formative memory of for you where it was an experience you went through that you feel like, oh, that experience helped me make me who I am today. And it could have been when you were younger,
Yeah.
older, whenever, right? Just maybe one story that comes to mind or two stories. Like, yeah, you know what, that was really impactful for me, and this is why.
Well, you go through life and you're going to have these moments, happy and sad, that influence how you think and sort of becomes a filter through which that you guide your decisions. And um, about 5 months before Kim and I were to be married, I had a life-threatening situation happen while I was in the midst of practicing. Um, it was my first year of practice, and it was spring, and Kim and I were to be married in the summer. And all of a sudden, I couldn't breathe, and I think you better call the ambulance. And the ambulance comes. They take a look at this healthy young 27-year-old, and they're thinking, okay, what's wrong with this guy? But it turned out that I actually had a perforated duodenum, and that could have been my last day. Uh, but thanks to the Dr. Miller, the surgeon at Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto, they figured it out, did the surgery, and and saw me through that. And you realize when you go through a life-threatening situation that every every day is a gift. Every time that you spend with your family, with your friends, should be maximized. And uh, I don't share that story often, but I do reflect on it, and I feel that I was given an opportunity even before I got married, even before we bought the practice, even before we even started a family or looked at starting vision therapy practice. That that wasn't my time yet, and the opportunities that would come after would be there for me.
Thank you for sharing. That's scary, especially at that age, and not just a whole life in front of you. That must have been really scary.
It was. I mean, the research that came shortly after that showed that there was this bacteria called H. pylori, and that was the infection that caused the perforation that almost put me into septic shock. And so thankfully that research led to a treatment that I was able to take that I haven't had problems since.
Good to hear. I'm glad you're healthy now. So glad we're doing this. Um, so tell me what are things that what are some things you do extracurricular? Like you really, I mean, that helps actually understand a lot of things because I read off quite a few things that you still do. You're into. So tell me some about the other activities. I want you to talk about some of the things you're proud of that you're doing right now, whether it's your speaking or teaching or research. If you're doing any kind of research,
Sure.
tell me some about some of the other things you do.
Well, I'll start off by giving credit to Kim because, often people will say, how do you manage, being a partner and working with your wife and staying happily married? And the credit to Kim on two parts. The first is when we come home from the clinic, um, she says, okay, that's it. We're not talking about the office anymore. It's all about our family. And so by putting, barriers around family time, she's, cause I would just go, and it'd be 24 hours and I'd be thinking about, everything going on, which I still do, but I don't have to talk to her about it 24/7. And the second thing was when Sarah was born, um, Kim said that, okay, this is it. We're going to allow our associates to work more days. And Kim went back to work 3 days a week. And I worked 4 days a week seeing patients. So two of the days, or one of the days that Kim was there, I was at home. So uh, again, that from day one, I was Mr. Mom on Mondays, taking my children to music lessons and going on field trips and all those things that, again, the experience I shared with you was even that much more important, knowing that this was the time that I was given for family. But as your children get older and they don't need you around, and you're not taking them to field trips anymore, or figure skating, or music lessons, or competitive cheerleading, um, that gave me the opportunity to become more involved in the profession. So I was able to serve 10 years on the board of directors of I Recommend, our national co-op, 3 years as board chair. And I've been the lecturer for the practice management course at the School of Optometry in Waterloo for the last 10 years. And I'm unofficial brand ambassador for Orange Theory. So Kim and I hit the studio 2 or 3 times a week. And that's where we stay healthy and to make sure that we're staying fit and can see our future years in a good way.
I think I'm gonna have to get Orange Studio to try to sponsor our podcast. You're the second or third person to mention that, just unsolicited. So that's kind of funny. It's a fun place to work out.
They are a prime example of how to build a community of people, all their users. It really makes it feel like a place that you want to go to, even though you dread the workout and it's always hard. You come out of there smiling, sweating, and you look forward to the people who are there. So that's an unpaid build up for Orange Theory.
Well, I think it's important, right? Physical. I find that for myself, especially like taking care of myself physically. I have to manage stress, and so it sounds like that's something that you also do with the community and just letting things go. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of things you're doing, maybe just naturally to manage that level of stress.
Yeah.
With so many things going on.
It was safer than what I did previously to Orange Theory, which was play pickup hockey. Which,
yeah. In Canada, it's serious up there. Yeah.
So, I met a lot of great guys, and, it was just as much fun to go out after Sunday morning hockey for bagels and coffee. But after I did a good job breaking my ankle, that was enough, and I had to hang up the skates.
Yeah, that's no fun. I had breaking a leg. So, I did that too. I was able to still break it in a way that I still do my activity that I like though. So, luckily for now. So we'll see.
Yes.
Well, so let's, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to your younger self? Like with recently graduated from optometry school, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Well, I'm extremely privileged that I can speak to the third year students each year, and I can continue to feed off of their energy and hear from them what their what passions are and what their concerns are as they go into fourth year and do their clinic rotations. But the advice that I typically give is, take the information that I give them about running a practice, the challenges that are there, about starting a cold start, about purchasing an established practice, and try to get as many different experiences as they can in clinic and their clinical rotation, and talk to the practice owners, talk to the team, talk to the associates, find out what they're happy about, what makes them tick, what their passions are, and learn as much as you can, because they can be so focused on, okay, I've got to become a better optometry student so I can graduate. I mean, that's that can be the blinders, because of course, they're worried about graduating and passing the exams and writing the boards, but to really take that fourth year and learn from it. But then, when you do graduate, don't be worried about getting started in that future you as quickly as possible. In other words, if an opportunity doesn't come right away, that could be the long-term opportunity, that's okay. But if it does, don't be scared by it. Grasp the opportunities that are there, because there's so much more support now that's available now, with the different buying groups and co-ops and consultants that are out there than was there 30 years ago when Kim and I started our journey.
I love that as an experience you're giving to your students. I'm curious, would you give yourself different advice 30 years ago, knowing what you know about yourself? What would you tell yourself? Was that different?
I would tell myself to get more advice. When we had that practice opportunity, we kind of leaned heavily on our accountant to make sure that it was a viable purchase. And I think knowing what I know now, I would have engaged Williams Consulting then as well, so that Kim and I could have gone into that purchase with their support, not just the support of our accountant, but with the support of an optometric consultant, so that we fully understood what we were getting into. And we engaged their services a year later, but that would have made the buying process probably less stressful. And that first year, certainly less stressful.
Yeah. I think that's good insight. Get more help.
Yeah, get more, and don't be put off by the money that it costs to invest in that help. It sounds expensive. It is expensive, but I tell the students, you invested so much money in your optometric schooling, and to give yourself that degree and that future. Don't shortchange yourself by not continuing to invest.
One of the key themes I see with every single person on the podcast is that continuous education. You're right. I think that everyone just has a budget for it, whether they're at the start or ongoing. There's always this, maybe it's not an unspoken budget, but it sounds like, hey, expect to spend money on that, just like you would expect to spend money on new frames as they come out, new inventory. Got to spend it on yourself too, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And what do you do now for keeping sharp, like keeping on top? I think you hinted at it earlier with some of the things you do, but how do you keep yourself on top of the game and keep getting support and help from seeing new ideas as you're doing business?
We're very fortunate with our co-op. I recommend we have regional dinner meetings with our colleagues a few times a year, which I've been facilitating for a number of years now. I belong to a US-based, little focus group as well, about 15 to 20 colleagues from around the US. I'm the token Canadian. And so just got back from a trip in the US, participating in that. And whenever I learn about a colleague or a business that's out there that's offering, advice on how to build team culture, how to be a better practice owner, how to be a better optometrist, I'm always learning and engaging. And so that's right now we have the benefit of the services of actually someone who you spoke to not that long ago on your podcast. And so a shout out to Bethany.
Bethany. I was going to say, was it Bethany? Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she really is. So again, unpaid. We are currently enjoying learning from her.
Yeah. And I think for folks listening, if you're interested, there's different types of consultants. Williams Group and the tangents off of Williams Group, the former Williams Group folks, they started their own thing. Most of them are around metrics, benchmarks, like Kleinman's another one. They're like, okay, this is how you run the business, all the nuts and bolts, all the technical aspects. Bethany's is interesting because she focused on the leadership side heavily. I loved her idea about referrals too. I was like, oh, that's great. So she's got a different approach to the way she does coaching and practice management. And you have other folks out there too. I think shout out to Larry Golson, who's a friend of mine. He does like EOS, which is he works on sales as well. And so operationally and the sales side from the doctor's perspective, like how to talk through that and create prescription plans for patients. So there's a lot of a variety of types of education and help you get. Even our, I guess, our company, my business care team, we do a lot to just bring information to clients, just random information. Like, oh, this is tariffs and this is how we're thinking about it in our offices. It's helpful. Things like that. So it's always good to see different sources and get different angles, approaches.
The key here is not to do it alone. And the nice thing is that there are different groups that are available to our colleagues at different phases of their practice, lifespan. And so Williams was key at the very beginning because they gave us a blueprint for every aspect of the practice. And then we moved on to Kleinman and their performance network, and they taught us what to do with the numbers and the power of peer networking. And then we moved on to our co-op, I recommend, and we were able to get, a Canadian group to give us, the importance of being able to meet with fellow colleagues who are sharing the same experience as you are, because, optometry is provincially based in Canada. And so the struggles of what we went through in Ontario and how we have a successful practice. But yes, as you move through your career now, that leadership aspect and building culture aspect, that's really what helps you to drive your team forward.
That's great.
And we're even trying to implement a little EOS along the way as well.
Yeah. Have you tried that? Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a common framework. A lot of folks like it. It works pretty well. It's pretty good to do. So, fairly easy to implement. So, I don't want to steal too much of your thunder here. I want people to reach out to you if they have more questions. Where can people reach out to you if they want to connect with you?
Sure. Well, obviously, you can find me on LinkedIn. It very easily, through our practice website, which we're excited that over the next month or so, we're completely refreshing. But my email address is my name, howarddolman@gmail.com. So it's very easy to find me that way as well.
Is it Howard with two D's? Howard and then Dolman.
Yeah, HOWARDDOL in the end.
That's a good email address.
Wait, if you remember back in the days where Gmail was by invitation only,
you got it then?
That was the time. Yeah,
I tried forever to get an invitation. I couldn't get one. So you're lucky. And we'll put this in the show notes for folks. And so I want to say a special thank you again, Howard, for being a guest on the show.
Thank you, Ankit. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm really glad that you somehow reached out to me and allowed me or gave me the opportunity to share my story and the importance of knowing that the optometrists, whether they're solo practitioners with a group, one location, 2, 3, or 15, that the power of being part of something bigger.
And no, I really appreciate that. And thank you for those kind words there. And thank you, audience, for listening. And if you learned something, laughed, or just enjoyed it, please subscribe to podcast or the YouTube video, however you're watching it, and tell your friends. Thank you again, Howard, for joining us. This has been another exciting episode of Optometrists Building Empires. We'll see you next time. That's a wrap on another episode of Optometrists Building Empires. Thanks for joining. For show notes and more, visit buildingempires.live. This show is proudly sponsored by My Business Care Team. My Business Care Team was born out of staffing challenges my wife and I faced together, managing multiple optometry locations. We refined our approach at Classic Vision Care and now offer our expertise to others. If you're experiencing challenges with staffing and you'd like to set up a discovery call, we'd be happy to help you and connect you with the right resources. We'll see you next time.